Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to take a look at the Blaziken from Darkness Ablaze, and I want to make a case for why we need to be taking this a bit more seriously. Now, I know it's a stage 2, and I know that's a problem. We'll get there in a moment. For now, I want to chat Blaziken. Now, this Blaziken, like I say, came around in Darkness Ablaze, and it's got an awesome ability. The ability makes it both fire and fighting type. And for what it's worth, there are no really relevant Pokemon at the moment that are going to turn off that ability. So until we get something, you can just count this as a fire and fighting type. And fire and fighting are about the two best types around. You see, fire hits weakness on all of those metal decks like Zacian, and it hits weakness on all of those grass decks like Rillaboom. And I know grass decks aren't huge right now, but it's still another weakness that you're hitting. It's still very, very relevant. And fighting hits weakness on those lightning decks like Pikachu and Zekrom, like Vikavolt with a pretty gosh darn good, and it hits weakness on a bunch of darkness decks like Eternatus, and it hits weakness on colourless decks, and admittedly colourless decks aren't that great at the moment, but something like that Silvally from Cosmic Eclipse, really good draw engine, and at some point you imagine some colourless Pokemon's going to be awesome. So you're basically hitting weakness on metal Pokemon, grass Pokemon, colourless Pokemon, lightning Pokemon, and some darkness Pokemon. That is a ridiculous amount of weaknesses to be hitting from one Pokemon. Then, of course, you are a fire Pokemon. So being a fire Pokemon gives you access to Welder. Welder lets you attach 2 fire energy to one of your Pokemon and then draw 3 cards. And I know it works for any Pokemon, you don't have to be a fire Pokemon to play Welder, but the fact that you attack 4 fire energy, well 1 fire, 2 colourless, not bad ladies and gentlemen, makes Welder pretty gosh darn tasty. And of course you can get it out your deck quite easily with Giant Hearth, you can get it out your discard pile quite easily with Fire Crystal, etc. So that's quite nice. Plus, we can see the double colourless energy in the attack cost here, and you're an evolved non-GX Pokemon. So Twin Energy will work, as will Triple Acceleration Energy, but do remember that falls off at the end of your turn. You have been warned. So okay, we've got 2 amazing types, and you got the energy on nice and easily, and you do 130 for free energy, but also you're a fighting Pokemon. Now Diancie Prism Star has gone away now with the rotation, which is very sad, but it does give you access to Martial Arts Dojo. So that 130, if you're behind on prizes using Martial Arts Dojo, actually becomes 170. Now it is worth pointing out Martial Arts Dojo is not actually for fighting Pokemon, it's for any Pokemon with basic fighting energy attached, but then Blaziken becomes a Welder and a fighting energy attached from your hand, and oh look, now you're paying the attack cost and you're rolling. And that number becomes super relevant because Eternatus VMAX is weak but has 340 HP. So you need to make sure here that you're hitting 170, so you can double up with weakness to 340, and that's where Blaziken's Turbo Drive becomes so good. The 130 is fine, but then when you add in Martial Arts Dojo behind on prizes, you're up to 170, and there's a KO. While we're talking numbers, the natural 130 doubles to 260, so there's a KO on Pikachu and Zekrom, there's a KO on Vikavolt, there's a KO on Silvally, there's a KO on Zacian, there's a KO on a whole bunch of other things, quite frankly. Eternatus V as well, not the V Max until you bring in the Stadium, but you will get the V. And of course, you're still a fire Pokemon, so actually you're hitting the weakness with fire while doing the extra damage with Martial Arts Dojo, which most fire decks can do, but most of them aren't going to do so. And that can be relevant because Zacian is losing Metal Frying Pan, that's the one that takes away weakness, but they're not losing Metal Goggles, and they're not losing Lucario and Melmetal, which will reduce damage done by 30 each. So here, if you're behind on prizes, you hit for weakness, you're hitting 340, and even with Lucario and Melmetal and the Metal Goggles, Zacian has an effective HP of 280. yeah, you're absolutely fine here. And to be fair, if it's only using one of them, it's got an HP of 250 effectively, and you're hitting a natural 260. And to be fair, even if you're not behind on prizes, Martial Arts Dojo will put you up to 140, which is 280. So even with a Lucario, a Melmetal, and a Metal Goggles, you're hitting 280, minus the 60 is 220, you're still getting a KO. And if we have a look at the Pokemon Online Global Championships this past weekend, we did see some control mill decks, but you're really relying on stuff like Oranguru, Makago, Belelbra, and Bryson Man. Those decks are gone. Those decks are being completely and utterly destroyed by the rotation, because of those 3 cards I mentioned, the only one that isn't rotating is Belelbra and Bryson Man, which is being banned. So those control decks are gone. And the other big decks we saw this weekend were Eternatus, you can one-hit KO, Vikavolt / Pikachu and Zekrom. We saw Pikarom, we saw Vikavolt, we saw them mashed together. They're all being one-hit KO'd. Zacian being one-hit KO'd. Honestly, the only top deck that you're not getting fairly simple one-hit KOs on here is Center Scorch. And Center Scorch does become the problem here, because Center Scorch has got 320 HP, except honestly calling it 320 HP isn't really fair, because they are going to be playing Heat Fire Energy and they're going to be going up from there. And you're not hitting for weakness, so you are, honestly, you're not 2-hit KOing, you're 3-hit KOing. And when you're 3-hit KOing for 3 prizes, now 1-hit KOing for 1, but because you're 3-hit KOing, you're opening them up to plays with stuff like Mallow and Lana, etc., that does become a little bit of an issue. But then again, that gives you one deck to try and beat. So all you need to do there, I mean, something like Medicham. Medicham, free energy, bearing in mind you're going to be playing Welder, 60 damage plus 20 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if they've got, say, 4 energy attached, then you're hitting 140 here with Medicham quite easily. And you're still talking free hit KO, but you're talking a stage 1, not a stage 2, so it's going to be a little bit easier to get into play. Or play just some shameless water Pokemon tech, if that's what you're into. I don't know, Dracovish can one-hit KO Center Scorch V while not allowing it to evolve up. That could be fun. My point is, when you've got one deck that you need to actually be taking down, it makes your life significantly easier, because, oh, I need to beat Center Scorch. I'll just play some stage 1 water Pokemon. There we go. Job's a good un. Again, not saying Medicham is going to smash Center Scorch, not saying Dracovish, although I like Dracovish more than Medicham if I'm honest with you. My point is that when you've only got one deck to try and take down, it makes your life significantly easier, because it just really helps. It means that you can go, right, what am I facing off against? Let's go for this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. And honestly, it's the matchups here that make me kind of love Blaziken. There is one top deck that you shouldn't be hitting for weakness. That's Redonkulous. Now, of course, there are a couple of issues, and the issues are essentially twofold. Number one, you are a stage 2. And look, we've had Rare Candy for a while. Rare Candy will help. And we've got Rosa now, so when you have a Pokemon KO'd, you can search for a Rare Candy and a Blaziken and an Energy and you're off. And we've got plenty of other things we can use. I mean, Jirachi is giving us a lot of consistency lately, so that's quite a nice one. You can always play Lily's Pokédoll to buy yourself a couple of turns in the early game. But then again, we also really kind of want Welder. And it's hard to play Rosa and Welder for fairly obvious reasons. Because Welder gets the energy on, and Rosa goes and gets everything you need to get to stage 2. And, of course, you are then relying on Rare Candy. And I've already told you that Rare Candy is a trainer card or an item card, and the Vikavoult's getting really good. And maybe it's not going to be good enough as a stage 2. Maybe the Center Scorch matchup isn't easy to deal with. And essentially the issues, as far as I'm concerned, are the Center Scorch matchup, and it's a stage 2. And I know stage 2 is a naughty word right now. But then again, Obstagoon's been pretty good. Obstagoon's been helpful. But then again, Obstagoon can block for a couple of turns. It blocks basic Pokemon, so that gives you more turns to set up. And maybe there are too many people playing too many bosses' orders and you'll just never actually get the stage 2 rolling. My point in this video is not to come here and say, look, Blaziken is amazing, it's going to win every tournament moving forward. My point in this video is to say, look, Is has got type advantage over all but one of the main decks right now. And because it can one-hit them so easily, surely this is something worth doing a little bit more investigating on. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.